Get it going. Welcome to another episode of The Flank, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the stream. I'm joined by my friend, my companion, my duo, Ben J. Nassim. You already know who he is. How you doing, Ben? Just another day.
I'm doing good, Tom. Pretty interesting day for me. Got a lot done. Excited for the weekend. The weather should be nice. And Tom, we had some interesting matches today. I'm excited to dig in and talk about it.
Yeah, man, some interesting matches. What'd you do today? You had some work with Esports Engine over there with Adam App and stuff.
Yeah, I had a half day, and then I did some chores this afternoon. Got a bunch of stuff done before the weekend.
That's good.
You know,
That's good.
Because gonna stay active this weekend. Take advantage of the nice weather. Tom, should be fun.
Yeah, it's dope, man. It's dope. I actually did a watch party today. I was chilling all day. I started the stream super early. So a lot of you guys have been in here already. We were watching some of the games. Obviously I can't show the games when I'm streaming. I'm not allowed, but it was cool to just sit down and relax and eat and chill and talk to the chat. It was a good time, honestly. It was a really good time.
Vibes, yeah.
Good vibes. You joined me halfway through, and we were just hanging out. So if you guys are ever interested, make sure you follow the stream, man. I do watch parties every once in a while. Usually when there's only 2 games or something, if it's one of the slower days, I like to turn on the stream for a watch party. So if you guys are interested in watching that, just stay tuned for more of those. But crazy day at COD, man. Crazy day. There was obviously some production issues. Now I know a lot of people are all up in arms.
I don't think there were production issues, Tom. It sounded like it was connection issues. Let's make sure we use the distinction correctly here. I think that'd be unfair to the production team.
Well, you didn't let me finish. I was gonna say, I was like, issues are gonna happen, guys. Sometimes it is what it is. Sometimes there's gonna be production issues or server issues or internet issues. It could be power. The issues can stem from anything, literally anything. So at the end of the day, I see a lot of people are really annoyed and really pissed off. And obviously, we want to see it as good as possible, and we don't want to see any problems during the stream. But I'm sure they're doing the best they can, so let's try and remain positive with the whole situation. Of course, it kind of sucks when we're sitting there just waiting and nothing's happening. But, what are you going to fucking do?
You and I were having a good time. We were watching.
Yeah, we were having a good time hanging out. I mean, worst comes to worst, you guys come over here, we hang out and chill and have a good time. But, what are you going to do, guys? Sometimes shit happens.
Tom, let's talk about this series. I saw this map set. One of the CDL metrics or one of the other accounts got it early.
Well, but let me just cut you off. We got Toronto Ultra going up against the Los Angeles Gorillas, ladies and gentlemen. We got the vetoes up right now, and Ben's gonna break it down for you. Go ahead, Ben. I just want to announce.
I apologize to our audio listeners for not giving you the full intro
good.
here.
Don't worry about it, Benny boy.
But yeah, I mean, I saw this map and I was a little surprised. It was a decent set for LAG, especially we saw them play pretty good on APOC hardpoint against FaZe. They've been decent on Express S&D. Raid's actually been one of their better control maps. So I was a little surprised at how this went down from the Toronto side, maybe trying to play some new maps, mix it up. And, Tom, I'll say overall in this series, if we want to get in the first map, I'll start loading it here in a second.
Yep.
LAG had their chances on the first 2 maps, Tom. I mean, this really could have been a 2-0 lead for LAG going into the third map, and ultimately LAG kind of let both these maps slip.
100%. I think watching the first 2 maps, LAG could have definitely took it. And when you look back at the stats and you try and compare them to the game, I mean, it looks like a blowout, right? Toronto wins 3-0. The stats are super lopsided. All of LAG was basically super negative except for Assault, which is kind of crazy. They just definitely need to pick it up in the slaying department a little bit. But if you look at the stats, it's just, it's a perfect example of how you can't look at stats unless you watch the game, because the stats just look completely lopsided. It looks like they got absolutely steamrolled. But the first 2 maps are super close, Ben. Honestly, I think LAG should have took 1 or 2, if not both, these first 2 maps. No.
Well, I want to give credit to Toronto as well.
100%. I mean,
they're
the
really
champs.
Good job of staying composed after they gave us all streaks on this hill. To do a really good job on the back end of this rotation. It was pretty mixy throughout. And then on the S&D, and we'll get there, Tom, they were down 1-4, and they were able to stay composed and win a bunch of rounds and get it going in the S&D. And then again, in the delay, obviously it sucks to be up 2-0 and get iced. They were able to come out and dominate map 3. So I think a really good showing again from Toronto. Tom, I think they won 12 maps in a row or something like that now. They're on a really, really big win streak.
They look good, Ben.
They look really good right now.
Yeah, they do. I just feel like everything's clicking for them right now. I feel like I feel like Cammy, Kleenex, and Bance are just an absolute force on the map running around together, and I feel like their chemistry is really really good, and the way they work off one another is really fun to watch, honestly. And then on top of that, you have Insight, who came in And I feel like he's a good fit for the team. I feel like he meshes well with them. I feel like he's very talented. He's dropping good numbers. He's just a very solid AR player. And most importantly, he's great at S&D. So, I mean, just having a player like that, having a team that's so well-rounded across the board in every game mode is just good to have. And they have really stepped up. I mean, in the beginning of the year, they were a good team. But now I just feel like they're hitting that next level of, like, you know, one of the best. Obviously, they won the last event. They took down FaZe. So these Toronto guys are no joke, man.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with all that, Tom. I think they're rounding into shape at the right time in the season to really take advantage of the mid part. We got to see if they can carry it throughout the year, but I think they've got all the pieces, Tom. Let's keep in mind the core of this team looked really good last year, especially at the end of the season when they also beat FaZe in that last home series and then played pretty well in the champs. So I really like what we've seen from Toronto so far this season. And they're in a Group A that I don't think is very strong compared to Group B. They should be able to really run the table here, get a lot of CDL points, see if they can go 5-0. They'll make a huge difference. They're trying to get back in those, they're trying to get in those top 3 seeds and really get good seeding and go into champs. So I think they're in good position to run that up, Tom.
Yeah, 100%. I want to bring in the stats. I see some people talking about it. You can just take a look for yourselves. You have Chino at a 0.88, Silly at a 0.54, Apathy at a 0.68 for the series. The only one positive is Assault at a 1.19. And then on the other side, across the board from Insight, Bands, Cammy, and Kleenex are all above a 1.2, 1.1. They're all around that area. Cammy was at a 1.47. So, I mean, when you're looking at stats like this, it's pretty lopsided, Ben. I mean, the slang power, ultimately, it comes down to the slang power and just getting kills. And I'm surprised by looking at these stats how close the first 2 maps were because it just doesn't make any sense. But you got to think that at Los Angeles Guerrillas needs to start stepping up their game a little bit because no matter how good you play the game, if you're not picking up kills, you're not going to win. Period. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I think also what happened, Tom, was like a lot of the LAG time. And let me look at the hill split. I think they got a lot of their time on P1 and P2. And like sometimes you see these, it's like context, right? So you'll look at these slaying numbers and you're very confused about how the first map went down. But like, for example, Tom, Toronto got outscored by 113 points on P2. So you know what happens when you just absolutely smoke a team on one hill like that? They're just rotating early, so you're not getting a lot of engagements plus engagements where that team is getting kills for hill time. So that's how you end up with like weird slaying numbers like you happen in this series. Yeah, that's actually wild. I did not realize that LAG got like almost 2 minutes of hill time just on P2.
It was just a hill of chains. It was just a hill of chains all the time. And then they get P2 and then the rest of them, LA Guerrillas, they try and rotate over to the next hill. They start chaining a couple of hills together. They get themselves the lead, and then they blow it. Because at the very end, Toronto, they flip spawns, and they end up just holding the last couple and doing the same thing back. So it's just a lot of these pro teams are starting to realize that they can lock down multiple hills at once. You just hold those spawns and chain hills together, and that's where things get a little bit mixy. When a team,
that's why I hated, Tom, when we were talking about this map like weeks and like a month ago. We had pros come in here and talk about, oh, this map sucks. P2 is so hard.
I do enjoy watching the map. I do.
And I'm like, Turtle Hill, P4 is pretty easy to hold. P5 is pretty easy to hold. Like it's just like checkmate, man.
It's
like
part of the strategy of it.
Don't chalk it after P2 just because you screw that up. Get your P1 and P3 time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But I think teams are starting to figure out, and they're starting to get more confident. That's why we're seeing more picks, Tom, on this map. I think especially this week I've noticed. We've seen APOC now in a couple of times after it really kind of didn't make many appearances at the end of stage 2.
Yeah, I mean, it was the same thing. I know Parasite kind of compared Apocalypse a little bit to Hackney Yard and MW. Like just based off like the map layout and just how it plays out, and I definitely agree with him. But even in MW, you remember how OP the good side was, and then towards the end of the year, people just got really good at coming off that bad side. People just learned a bunch of strats. They mixed up a lot of their play, and granted, it was still the bad side, and it was still a harder side, but pro teams are really good, man. They're very smart. They're very good players. They know how to break it.
What they would do is they'd get ahead of the game. So yeah, you don't get P2 off the first rotation, but you're flipping the team on P5, and suddenly for P1 and P2, you've got the good spawn. That's what we saw a lot of good teams doing to take advantage of bad side on Hackney Yard.
Yeah.
I think here as well for P2, like teams are doing a good job of giving up the back on P5, setting themselves up for some initial P1. If you get 20, 30, great. If not, then you can maximize on P2, and then you're in the driver's seat. Ultimately, it's not how this map played out. I think Toronto did a really good job on the P5s, and we'll watch kind of what happens at the end here.
There's a mistake right here. This is a mistake right here. Did they not know that Cammy was back here? They just had no idea, because when number 3 gets that spawn, I think it was silly. He needs to back up there. There's 25 seconds left. He's trying to pick up cuts mid-map and stuff. Like, why not just back up and lock in new? I mean, you can't win off this. You basically do win off it. All you need to do is make sure you lock down spawns for the next hill and you're good to go. But instead, Cammy, he gets a kill in the back. He ends up staying alive. His teammates come and help. They all go down, and just like that, Toronto flips him out, and Toronto can win. They can win on the next hill. So if you're LAG, it's just mental mistakes, man, at the very end of this game. Like, you literally have this in the bag. You can chain these last 2 hills together. You don't win off this hill, but you basically do. And then if you just hold spawns and stop pushing out cuts, you win the game. You win the game. Look at number 3 right here. Look at number 3.
I really think Silly should have pinched it back here. I agree with you. They kind of played tight here to try and... I mean, they wouldn't have won off this hill either, Tom. Like, they would have been a couple seconds off. So, I don't know. I think they should have tried to play for spawns. I agree. Like,
they just must have not known Cammy was there.
They definitely knew. Silly spawned out.
That's what I'm saying. Based off his spawn. Like, based off his spawn, like, I feel like they should have picked something else.
Brian got shot by Cammy. Like Abadi chowed the back door and died, Tom. They definitely knew he was there.
So, just a weird play from them. A weird play then.
But they turtled. And look, ultimately, they got flipped out, and then they got put in this position where it is very hard to break this P5 hill. Tom, it needs to be said about this LAG team, and we talked about it when they dropped Reese Vivid. This is not the situation they're going to excel at with this team. Their sub players, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it, did not have a great series, Tom. They got outslayed by a lot.
I mean, to be fair, the whole team got shit on, but Assault.
Yeah, Tom, but their subs got outslayed by 40 kills.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, yeah, the subs got outslayed by 40 kills, whatever you want to say, but the first 2 maps are very, very close, and we also know how lopsided it can be sometimes if you're fighting if you don't have spawns, if you're not playing the game the right way. It's very difficult to get kills. I mean, I don't want to just say that the LAG subs are just ass. Obviously, I think there's subs in the league that are very good and probably better. But, I mean, they definitely have the talent, or they have enough in the tank to push through and try and execute some of these maps. That came down to simple mistakes right there at the end for LAG.
Yeah, and
simple mistakes.
Chino got a lot of damage, and, like, at the end there, like, he could have gotten that trade. Like,
Gene's been doing his fucking thing. Gene, you're doing your fucking thing, kid.
Gene's been looking good.
Yeah, you look good.
My concern with the LAG, Tom, is that they've all season, those sub players have been inconsistent. And they've taken now their most impactful sub player out of the lineup. And I worry that they're going to get in a lot of these situations now where those subs are going to struggle to have an impact, and they really need those players to step up if they want to kind of progress as a team. That's my concern.
Yeah, I agree. I think we need to see, I think it's not just with LAG. I think a lot of teams we need to see people stepping up, especially the sub players, considering how much talent is in the league. If you want to be the best, you got to beat the best.
Yep.
And people are they got to step up their game, for sure. They got to step up their game. But playing as a team and using teamwork and playing the game the right way and being decisive off your decision-making, that's where it's going to start showing you your gameplay. That's where people are going to start performing better. So people need to figure this stuff out. They need to go back to the drawing board and figure it out, because LAG, they could have closed out a couple maps here. And watching back that first map, it was like simple stuff, man. Just something so simple as locking down a spawn to just win the game, guarantee yourself a win, and you're trying to push out cuts and everybody's pushing gold. It's just like, it doesn't make any sense. But scratch the first map, Toronto, they end up going around, they get spawns, they clutch up at the last second. It was a nail biter, and we go into the S&D, and this was another one, Ben, that went all the way. It went the distance. It went to around 11, and we had another good map.
Yeah, I mean, so we'll watch this through. LAG wins 4 of the first 5 rounds, and then Toronto starts to really get in the mix, take advantage of first bloods. And then we get to around 11 that was pretty interesting. And Tom, I think this is another map where LAG had a really good chance to kind of switch the momentum in this series, and they just kind of failed to capitalize.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think LAG, they started off hot. They won the first few rounds, and something that I noticed when I was watching this back, or when I was watching it live on the watch party, is Toronto really adapted here. LAG, they play very patiently, they play very methodical, they don't force a lot of plays in S&D. They definitely have their bread and butter strats. And they did their thing, especially on these first few rounds, and they built themselves a little bit of a lead. But I felt like Toronto was kind of just letting LAG make the play on them. Like, I felt like they were playing kind of passive, like kind of slow, and then all of a sudden Toronto just started picking up the pace. They started hitting stuff out as a team. They started switching up their strats, and it was showing, man. When they went down 2-0, they went down 3-1, I think. They really started to turn around their game style. I was saying it, watching it back. It was just good adaptation from them. They were adapting as the map went on, and that's what good teams do. Good teams know when to switch up the play in the middle of a map. They're losing rounds. They're noticing what LAG is doing, and instead of just doing the same thing over and over again and trying to win gunfights or trying to force the hand, they just switch up their play. They switch up their pacing.
Yeah, Tom. So I liked, Toronto's got some interesting setups on this map. They did this double top setup, which actually ended up working out. And I agree with you, Tom. Like, I just think Toronto just started playing a little bit more together. They were playing pretty separate in the beginning of this and getting blooded. They just did a good job of making all the rounds when they could 4v3 and then relying on their team play to get that bomb down and play post plant or set up really good retakes and take advantage of the numbers.
It starts here. It starts here. They go down 3-0, and then they say, you know what? Let's get control of the A room. They jump up in the A room. They get aggressive on the map. They get map control. They play their corners. They win their fights, and they get around on the board. And then it's just the pacing that they carry on throughout the rest of the map. They don't let off the gas pedal. You know what Papa Zoom was always saying? You keep that fucking gas pedal pushing, and that's exactly what they did. And they start off slow, but that's what makes Toronto so good, is that they're very resilient. They have a lot of resilience, so always come back and keep pushing the hand. And LAG, again, I felt like they might have let this one go, but I do want to give credit to Toronto here because they looked really good in the second map after they went down a few rounds.
Yes, this was looked like kind of a little bit of a show to be, but it looks like the LAG guys kind of read it. Actually, did Toronto win this round? I think they did, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Toronto won this round. I think they did.
Yeah, they did.
So even right here, you see how
no, they 30 LAG won this round.
Yeah. 30 seconds into the round, though, I like that Toronto's still making a play for that site. Like, they're not waiting to make plays. Like, they're just being super decisive, and they're trying to make plays. No, I don't remember what happened here, but this was a weird strat. So Toronto, they push through this A site. They end up backing up. LAG starts biting it a little bit. I don't know if they start thinking maybe Toronto backed up or if they rotated, but Insight gets a big kill, or Kleenex with some help. Silly makes a play on the top train, starts jumping around. This round, Silly went huge. And it was good patience out of LAG. Honestly, they didn't fall for it. I would have liked to see Toronto get that bomb down. I think that's where they messed up. They were keeping the gas pedal pushed down. They were doing what they were supposed to do. They were pushing they were getting the bomb down. Then they just seemed like they gave up on it. I don't know why. I don't know if they got like a call or something, or they thought they were getting rushed or nades. I really don't know what it was. But if they just get that bomb down, I mean, nobody's there. They were literally crouched on the bomb. Just get it down, back up, play your lives, and make LAG make the play. But instead, Toronto, they end up playing a little bit more passive, and LAG works a pinch, and they just kind of pinch them in and slow play it. So just good patience out of LAG. And that's what I said when I was watching it back. I was like, LAG, you can't. Toronto's trying to play with patience and trying to get picks, but you're not going to out-patient LAG. That's how they play. So it's like if you just keep just running at them and playing aggressive and getting that map control, that's how you're going to break them down. And that's what Toronto started to do. Yeah.
They went up going on a big streak of winning first bloods here. It's Tom. They win 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 first bloods, and they get the first blood around 11. So 7 of the last 8 rounds in this map, they do start out 4v3.
The round 11 confused me a little bit, and I know Chino's in the chat, and I would love to get him on just to get his input a little bit, but I was a little bit confused as to why they waited so long to get the bomb down and why they were so staggered on that site. Regardless, we'll talk about it when we get there, but we can
skip ahead.
You could skip ahead if you want to watch some of these rounds, but Toronto just does a good job just pushing forward and playing aggressive on the B bomb site. They end up bringing all these rounds back. They start looking really good. Then I think Toronto goes up 5-4. If I remember correctly, again, Toronto, they push through this B bomb site. They play super aggressive. They get the bomb down right away.
I also hated the way LAG just sort of retook this site.
I mean, I don't know why teams... Ben, what do you think about teams giving up this B site? Because I feel like every time a team gives up the B site, the other team on the offensive side just gets a free B play and they win the round almost every time. Now, okay, occasionally you see some retakes come in, but it's not an easy retake. It really isn't.
Especially when, number 4 here and is sort of kind of just having to finesse around and has no impact. And it really screws these guys' tunnel. Like, he's just trying to stay alive. He eventually does get a kill, but at this point in time, it's 12 seconds left. He doesn't have time to really get to the bomb. I agree with you. You got to kind of try to put some pressure on B, kind of try and prevent them from hesitation to getting that bomb down quick or get an early pick and try and have at least an extra number. We've seen teams still get good at the B retakes. I think FaZe recently have been a team that have had some good retakes on B. We've seen the Paris team a couple of times, and they played this back with their old team. They had some good B retakes. So I think it's doable. I just think that LG didn't really set it up well.
Yeah, I mean, Chino said in the chat, I mean, if you watched it, we finally switch up defense and they go to the other side. No, 100%. I know that you guys have hit the B side out a lot. I'm saying you guys gave it up. I mean, eventually, Chino, you guys gave it up. And I was just asking Ben, I see a lot of teams do that sometimes where they just give up the site. And they play kind of passive and they try and play for retakes. And sometimes I don't know if I agree with it because I feel like B is like such a hard site to retake. But people disagree, obviously. There's a reason why pro teams are giving it up. But I just remember FaZe playing this map and watching them play it and hearing them talk about it. Like, sometimes it's just so hard to break that site. Yeah. But whatever you guys think it works, on top of that was probably a blind counter. Maybe they thought they were going to another site. But we go to around 11. LAG, they clutch up in that round, and they force it to around 11, 5-5. And this is where things get a little bit mixy, Ben.
Yeah, this is an interesting
it's a
round
hit towards B.
So I kind of like Toronto's play here. They went for a little bit of a mid aggression and try and get in the ticket booth. A little bit of two-person kind of mid action, forcing LAG. I think the big mistake that gets made in this round, and would love to know from Chino kind of the thought process. Assault ends up playing on sort of a weird side of the bomb.
Well, first off, how is Apathy dying by a nade? Chino, do you guys not have trophies? Do you guys not have trophies? First of all, I would love to get Chino in here, man, just so we could talk to him and get his thoughts. I'll message him the info. If he wants to come on, he can. If not, it's all good. We'll still talk about it. But how is Apathy dying from a nade round 11? You know what I'm saying?
Where does he get naded from? He gets naded back.
He gets naded from middle. I mean, they're all middle. The whole Toronto team was middle, so he had to have gotten naded somewhere from there.
They almost dunked two guys. Oh, he shot the trophy according to Chain. I mean, we can see if they shoot the trophy.
Wait, they shot the trophy? They're all middle, Chain. How did they shoot the trophy? How the fuck did they shoot the trophy? What kind of trophy did y'all throw?
No, you guys threw the trophy way back in spawn, brother. Unless it's a second trophy. Now,
wait, what trophy did they shoot? They're all mid-map.
Tom, they throw a trophy right off the break. Watch. They place this on their side of B-bomb, but it's not close enough to block this nade. Look, it's right there. It's right by the whatever you call this.
I mean, but the reason why you throw that trophy though is because if they're rushing out.
Yeah, you get the rush nades, but that's why you get a second trophy, and they don't have one.
Okay, so they just didn't. So I guess they just didn't have one. They just didn't have one, I guess.
They just get naded.
Which kind of blows, I guess. That pretty much just fucking blows. But fucking he goes down. But he gets naded, and that's a big first blood out of Bance. To go round 11 and get that number, that first blood with a nade kill, it's huge. We know how huge first bloods are in S&D, so a good nade out of fucking Bance, man. And then right here, LAG, they play so patient, and I like it because they're working picks or down a man. But what I don't like is when time is dwindling down and they don't make a play. They just stay so staggered. So right there, Bance gets another kill, but he gets traded out by Assault. Chino,
bomb should be going down now.
Yeah, but big plays by Chino, exactly. Bomb should either be going down now, or they should be making a play. They should be pushing through mid or trying to push the side out. Like, I don't know. The Assault shimmies here. He gets more info, right? Insight shoots at him, so they have to do something. Instead, they stay staggered on the bomb. Assault makes another good play, picking up a kill. But then right here, this is where things get a little mixy. Yeah. With 20 seconds left, you force plant this. I would have liked to see the plant go down a little bit earlier, or here with 20 seconds left. Why not go A? Just stick together and run across the map.
Maybe they thought Insight was hitting tunnel, and that's why they planted on this side.
I mean, but at that point you're gambling. You're taking 50-50s when you're up to when you have a 2v1 advantage. It's like right here, you can't be scared to make a play. Like somebody should just make a play call, and they should just wrap the map together. They have time. It's a small map, bro. Like they have time to just hit through mid, or like I just feel like getting the bomb down at this point on this B bomb site with 20 seconds left is just asking to get clutched on, because there's so many angles to look at. He could be coming from low. He could be coming from catwalk, mid map. He can literally be coming from everything. And then on top of that, where Assault is planting the bomb, he could be seen from the catwalk stairs, and he could be seen from mid map. Where if he just planted behind the site, all Money Chi needs to watch is down low for him, and then if he comes mid map or catwalk, they're good to go. You know what I'm saying?
This is a good play from Insight to pinch middle, but they made this very easy for him and giving him a free pick. And at this point, like, it's a really tough spot for Cheen. He's got to get bombed down. He has no idea where Insight is. he does end up getting the plant, but it's hard to get away.
Bro,
at that
people
point.
are saying hindsight in the chat. That's not hindsight. LAG should have clutched this up, and I know Chino's in the chat.
They should play.
I'm being like, I'm trying to help. I'm trying to help. Like, and if they don't agree with me, then so be it. This is just my opinion on it. You need to plant the bomb where you're safe from at least mid map and top cat, and then just make it easier for Chin. Make it easier for Chin. Right now, Chino, where he's planting the bomb, Chino's probably going nuts. He's probably like, what the fuck do I like? Chino probably doesn't even know what to look at here. It looked like he didn't. It was just too much to look at. There's too many places. You plant behind the bomb. All Chino needs to do is watch his down low, maybe throw some shimmies mid map. But instead, they plan out in the open. And then once Chino gets the bomb down, he ran exactly. And that's what I wanted to ask you, Chin. You ran towards the guy who Insight killed him off bomb from mid. And then after you planted it, you ran towards mid when you still had the bomb in your hand. So I don't know if you thought that maybe Insight wrapped or whatever. Give Insight credit. Hey man, guys, I'm being honest here. I'm not impressed at all by Insight's clutch. I don't think it was that good of a clutch. I'm gonna be honest. I thought it was more LAG throwing than it was clutching up. I always give people credit, man. I always give people credit, guys.
It was I would say this, Tom. I think it's a little rough to Insight. It was a good play from Insight, but they made it so easy for him to clutch M1v2.
Yeah.
He didn't have to do a lot of work. He made the right play. He got essentially a free pick on assault, and then Chin was put in a really tough position, but even then also made it easy for Insight, who was pinching middle. So
yeah, I mean, people can say whatever they want. I personally thought it was a pretty basic clutch. He shot him, guys. There was 20 seconds left on the clock. What the fuck else is LAG gonna do? They're gonna plant. Insight's gonna hit the bomb. He's gonna get a free plant, juke the kill cam, and out at that point, Chino is left to do absolutely nothing but plant the bomb. Chino is absolutely fucked. He's done. Insight has all the advantage in the world. Now, yes, I'll give Insight credit. It was a smart play. It was a great play by him. But LAG could have definitely have clutched that. They could have definitely have clutched that and made it harder for Insight, for sure. And that's all I'm saying, guys. Like, you guys get really salty when we don't gas people up, but we also want to talk about some of the bad decisions that happened during the match, because that was blatant. That was just a blatant mistake out of LAG right there. Blatant mistake. And it was a round 11, so it was a crucial round. But what did I just say 15 minutes ago? I said Insight is incredible at S&D, and he fits these players really well. We always give gas, guys, and I always give gas. So let's relax a little bit. Let's relax. It was an easy clutch. If you disagree with me, I think you're wrong. But we'll move on. Good plays by Insight. Good plays by LAG to keep it close. It was a good first couple of maps, but then we go in through that long delay. It was an hour delay. Or how long was the delay? It was a long time, because we were sitting here for a while. We were wondering what was going on. I still don't know what happened.
I think it was over an hour, Tom. And it's a tough situation for both teams. Again, online play, like, you never know what can happen. Servers go down. People having connection issues, ISP issues. Like, it's so much stuff that's out of the hands of virtually everybody involved in the situation.
Yeah, Marky B's in the chat. He said it was over an hour. That's crazy.
But again, we've talked about it time and time again with Toronto this map. Tom, love the way they play.
They play it really well.
They always do a really good job of making it difficult for the defensive team, getting them in the mix, spawning them laundry, stacking the point. They do the basics really well, Tom.
100%.
Even without back control, and they go up first round on offense.
100%. No, we were talking about this, Ben, when we were watching it together. Toronto they're on the same page on this map, and it shows when you watch the mini map. They always have they just know what they're doing. They know what they're pushing. They know what to do when they get the kills. They're very decisive on their decision making. You could tell that they really worked hard in practice, and they're really getting themselves on the same page. So I was very impressed with Toronto this map, and we were talking about it, especially when they need to get that B site on offense. I love the way they played through kitchen and play through mid and get their kills and start spawn trapping and coming from. They're just very annoying to play against, and they're not scared to make things mixy, because it's controlled chaos. That's the best way to put it. It's just very controlled chaos, Ben.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree, Tom. And this offense for LAG was not looking good. I mean, look at the kills, Tom. Like, it was a real tough spot for them. Pretty much everybody on the team's having a real tough one except for Assault. And this is the issue, Tom, as we've talked about. Like, it's just this LAG team. It's going to be very tough for them to have to not front run teams, to be in neg positions and try and make plays. I think that's what not having Reese Vivid on the team. They're going to have to do a lot of work to figure out like how to fix that. Because I think it's going to be tough against a lot of the way that these other teams in the league are built.
Yeah. You see Chino in the chat. He said, I just felt like I couldn't finish kills this map. Sometimes that happens, Chin. Sometimes you just have maps where you just feel like you can't finish kills or things aren't going your way. I thought Toronto played this map really well, to be honest. But overall, it being a 3-0 Chin, I was saying in the beginning, I thought this was a very close series. I thought the first two maps could have gone either way.
Yep.
I think a little mistakes here or there that you guys probably already talked about. You'll go back to the drawing board, but you guys look good, Chin. I don't think you guys should walk away feeling too down after this one, but you just got to keep working.
Here's what I'll say to Chin is, and we've talked about this before when the Vivid change happened, because we looked at the schedule. Tom, LG got to play Dallas tomorrow. They've been grinding all week with fellows, so we'll see if they can come out and kind of end this losing streak. And then on Thursday, LG is going to have to square up against Minnesota, so it's not going to get any easier for them. They're going to need to really kind of figure out this team chemistry build. I think their map set against those two teams is okay, but I'm really worried about the slang. And then on the Toronto side, Tom,
Toronto just looked great. I mean, they're
Toronto
good.
Look great.
They're good.
They do play Minnesota this weekend. I'm very excited to see that game. And see how they go. And they're just looking like they're in cruise control. You saw this at times with FaZe. We've seen this now with Toronto. They're just all on the same page. They're making the right plays as a team. Really good individual performances. I just think they're in a really good position right now, Tom, to be back-to-back champions, I think.
No, I agree. And again, some of these maps are close, but it's just the way they play around the map together, the way they play off one another. They just feel like they're hitting the form of their life. And Merc was actually in the chat before when we were doing the watch party, and he said the same thing. When you have that championship momentum, you come off, you win an event, you have that clutch factor to you, that confidence to you. Like, you're not scared to make plays. And I feel like Toronto, they're just getting stronger and stronger and stronger. Like, it's just all connecting for them. And I honestly think Insight was a good pickup for them. I just think they're meshing really well as a team, and it's starting to click. And they're looking real scary, man. Moving into the rest of the weekend and seeing them to come in these next few weeks, they're looking good, really good.
So we want to move on to the next series, Tom?
100%. Let's move on. We have Paris Legion going up against Minnesota Rokkr, and this one was a real good one, guys. Listen, I didn't know what was going to happen, especially after the first map, but we'll get right into it. Paris, they haven't been looking good, Ben.
Yeah, I mean, so take a look at the map set. Kind of like this was decent for Paris. They had some opportunities here. Raid Apocalypse makes it in. We haven't seen Minnesota play it yet. And they ended up looking pretty decent on the map. Like, overall, a decent set. Tom, I know we were talking about in the last episode like that, Paris have had been real trouble in scrims. Didn't look like in the first map, Tom. They came out and played really well. But then after that, I think especially after the S&D, the momentum kind of flew on the Minnesota side, and Paris really struggled after that.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. We were talking about... sorry, I'm just reaching out to Accuracy right now because I was going to get him on. But we were talking about Minnesota and their hardpoint not looking too good. And when Paris came out and took this first map, I thought we were going to have a series on our hand. But Minnesota, they had a good bounce back. But what do you think the problem is with Minnesota and their hardpoint right now? I mean, obviously, they win the fourth map. And they take a hard point, but I still feel like it's a little bit shaky. I felt like they just never had rotation on this checkmate. We were talking about it, Ben, when we were watching it back. It just felt like they were always fighting from a disadvantage. They never had the upper hand.
You and I were talking about it. I think the hard point issues are kind of gas, because if you look at their recent results, they're playing 500 a ball, which is not that bad. Like, if you're a decent S&D team and you're winning controls, that's 3 maps right there. It's a 3-1.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say that their hardpoint's looking bad. It's just not dominant. Checkmate hardpoint has been a good map for Paris historically. It may have been their pick as well in this. I didn't see the side picks or the colors, but it's likely. And I wouldn't take too much away from it. I would say where they get into trouble on maps like this, especially with Checkmate, is I always feel like Lamar kind of doesn't always have a major impact like we see with other ARs in this map. And it seemed like...
What do you mean?
Well, he's not getting those 1-4, those 1-5, those dominant. He's holding power positions and getting 2 or 3 or 4 kills, and they're not able to kill him out. He's getting a lot of one-and-dones and trades, and so the other team's taking advantage of power positions. I also think Paris did a really good job of getting plane control on this map, and plane control is everything. And if you can hold down plane, you can do a lot of work on P4, you can do a lot of work on P1, you can do a lot of work on P5. P3,
we talked about that all the time.
Yeah, literally every hill town except for P2.
And I'm pretty sure it was Paris last time when we were talking about this, when it was Nicky D who's constantly going plane. I don't know if you remember that, Ben, on one of our past episodes, but I was like, Nick needs help in plane. They need to start pushing out plane. And they did a great job pushing out plane and getting control of that area. Of course, we saw a little role change switch. You see Temp on the main AR now, or not the main AR. Aqua's the main AR, but he's running the second AR. And it was interesting to see, but I also do like Temp on an AR. I think he has a good shot with it. I think it fits him. I think it fits his playstyle more than people think.
Yeah, and I mean, like everybody but Scraps had a really good map, but even then Scraps went like 19 and 20. I just think overall this is going to always be one of Paris' stronger maps in the pool. And they did what they needed to do. They came out and they dominated this map pretty strongly from start to finish. They played really good on the P5s. I think Minnesota got in trouble in a lot of the P4s. I think one time, I believe it was on this rotation, the next one, they ended up getting flipped out at the end for the L. Like, it's just, Minnesota has always kind of struggled to sort of front run these maps, at least when we watched them play it. Paris did everything they needed. Again, Tom, it's just they were unable to really take advantage of this good map 1 and carry it to map 2.
Even right here.
Yeah.
Right here. Sorry to cut you off, but it's just 140 to 70. And Minnesota, they decided to push 10 seconds. And again, look at what happens. They flip themselves out. Instead of playing disciplined and maybe chaining a P1 and a P2 and bringing themselves back into this game, they continue the push. They continue the push. They flip themselves out. Now Paris, they get right back into playing. They get into this P1 hill. And again, Minnesota, they find themselves playing from a disadvantage. They're not playing disciplined enough. They're not rotating. They're not playing the right way. And that's why it's going to be hard for people like Atats maybe or Standy to get. Right now, they're sitting negative because they're always just fighting from the disadvantage. So I want to see them maybe just work a little bit more on just getting some of those rotations and just making the game easier for them, because I feel like they're making it harder. They're making it harder on themselves. And that was one of the main things I noticed watching this first map. But I don't know about you, Ben.
Yeah, I agree with that. Playing control is everything, and you got to stay ahead of the game on checkmate and put the teams in disadvantaged situations, because the spawn drafts are pretty brutal on this map.
You can't panic. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
You
you
can't
gotta stick
panic.
together as a team.
When you're down, right, they're down like 150 to 70, whatever. You can't panic. Just realize, okay, let them have that last 10, 15 of scrap. Rotate the plane. Get a good hold. Get a full 60. If you can't get a 60, at least try and get 40 or 50. And then chain a P2 and bring yourself right back into the game. That's how you need to do it. If you start forcing things and start getting nervous and scared and you start hitting scrap and start trying to make things hectic, it's going to fall apart. You have a team that has a good lead and they're going to take advantage of it. They're going to make sure they're just staying disciplined and playing the game the right way, and they're going to punish you for it. And that's exactly what Paris did this first map. But it was a good map. It was overall a good map, and Minnesota still battled and made it close.
Next one, Tom?
Yeah, let's go to the next one. I think Paris, again, Minnesota rotates to that street hill, that P4 hill. They end up getting flipped out. But Paris does a good job just closing it out and executing. And they just stayed ahead of the game. But let's go into map number 2. We had Miami S&D, Ben.
Yeah, it's a pretty dominant map from Minnesota. They've always looked pretty decent on Miami. They've got a lot of really good AR players. It kind of fits their play style. And I just felt like Paris didn't really have a lot to show on offense. It seemed like the only real trick in the book was the B hit. And they could never really get it going, Tom. A lot of really good plays from Minnesota on defense, getting picks, doing a good job out on the beach side and preventing them from really getting anything going on A. And the guys on B playing different positions, getting a pick or two, staying alive. Like, just overall, like, well played for Minnesota. There were a couple of nice plays that Paris had. I think there was a round where Donnie was able to flank up a middle and got something to go.
Yeah.
And I know round 7 was like pretty mixy, but like overall, pretty dominant map for Minnesota, and they were able to grab momentum.
Yeah, no, good map by Minnesota. This was big for them because if they go down 0-2, I think the series is obviously going to be a lot different. I think Paris has all the momentum in the world, so this is a big map for them. I agree with you. I felt like Paris was just playing super straight up. There was one round where Donnie made a play through middle and just kind of crouch walked up the middle of the map. That's the type of stuff that I like to see on offense. Individual plays. Yeah, individual plays, people making making a play on the map, getting a first blood. That's what it's all about. Maddie almost clutches a 1v3 in the beginning. That would have been pretty cool, or a 1v2 to kick things off. But you don't need to skip all the way, but we can watch some of these. We were talking about this a little bit, this boat spot over here on this beach. I would like to see some people kind of not peek on boat, just try and stay down, because a lot of times people get to boat unseen. Nobody even knows anybody's there. I know a lot of the time it could be stun checked or nade checked, and people throw trophies down, so people with engineer might see it. But Donnie makes a good play. He crouch walks all the way through mid map. He's able to come up behind him and take Preston off of that boat. So good heads up play out of Donnie. Then he just, the young Kyrie switching lanes. He's being a nuisance on the map. This is exactly what you want to see. This is exactly what you want to see.
I don't know how he even gets there, because Preston's got all a beach. So Lamar's just got to watch middle. I don't know if he gets weird timing on Don as he crouches purple, but
he was probably trying to help him, trying to help Priesta. Maybe he thought he was getting pushed or he needed help.
Well, if he's going to help, then someone on B's got to watch middle then, because they've got 0 people watching that lane.
Yep. They chalked it
No.
up. They probably just thought, screw it, no one's gonna hit it.
A little bit of a tough situation.
Yeah, it's a pretty ballsy play for somebody to just run up mid. So maybe they gave it a shimmy, saw nothing there, and Donnie hit a timing. So it was a good play, good heads up play. But in the end, it just wasn't enough. Minnesota came out and they were too strong in S&D.
This round was pretty mixy. I'm going back to the beginning of it.
All right, go ahead. You can go back to the beginning. Let it play out. Let's watch a couple rounds. See how it break it down.
Sandy made this aggressive mid play. We've seen a lot of teams do this since the
By
start.
himself too. By himself.
Yeah.
He made an individual play.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of teams when they know the teams play past the purple, take advantage of this timing, just get up mid. Paris did a good job. They get aggressive quick. I think Stanley doesn't really check this corner, which is kind of unfortunate. And then this round kind of takes an interesting turn. I actually think Minnesota won this round, right? Round 7. Yeah, they win this round. So
there's a 2v3 situation.
2v3.
So Lamar, he gets a pick. Does he get another one? Oh, so accuracy just goes huge. I mean, accuracy just picks up a big 2-piece. He makes it a 1v1 situation, him and Aqua. Accuracy is on the he's on the defensive side. So Aqua's forced to make a play here. And if you're Lamar, you know that you had the bomb down. So Aqua, he's trying to move around the map. And again, the time is just dwindling down. Lamar's making a good play. He picks up a big 2-piece. He lets time do the work, and he picks up Aqua. And just like that, they go up. Great plays, honestly, by accuracy. That was a great 3-piece out of him. So shout out to Lamar, man. Let's go to Lamar in the chat. Big plays, because this S&D was huge. They go up 5-2, and it was pretty much a wrap after this, Ben. I mean, Minnesota.
They won this round to win gold 6
Yeah. They had the momentum. They played really well. I really like the way their S&D has been looking. I mean, we always saw Minnesota as going to be a top S&D team with just some of the players that they have on the map. But I just like that they're making plays, and they seem like they're not forcing anything, and they're playing really well off each other. And it's the clutch factor as well. They have a lot of clutch factor in this team, especially with Attach, right? One of the best clutchers ever.
The same thing just happened to Paris again. Bro, they're so worried about People Beach, and they don't see anyone, that Matty's not watching middle. He's kind of trying to watch 2 different lanes, but the 2 guys B don't see anything. It's weird. Someone's got to hop wall and help these guys middle or do something, because Preston should never be able to walk up here and shoot Matty in the back.
Yeah, it's very weird.
That's way too easy.
I don't know why teams are deciding to give a middle. I guess maybe they just think that nobody's going to hit it because it's such a ballsy play, and they're just kind of taking that risk, but I don't know. It's just not paying off for people. At least give it a look, right? Give it a little shimmy, give it a look, try and get some eyes on it. But they try and run up through mid. It doesn't work. Now you have Donnie and Nicky D. You got Classic and Temp.
You had number 6 attaches on the big flank, and he basically wins this round because he's shooting the guys in the back.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I like the play out of Attach. Attach, he works a long route. They get the bomb down, and once the bomb is down, he's working a long route. I mean, the map is just so big, too. Paris just has no idea where they're going to be coming from. So just a good heads-up play out of Minnesota. And I like the aggression out of Minnesota. They get the first blood, and they don't fucking wait to make a play. They get the bomb down instantly. They throw the trophy on the fucking bomb site. Standy jumps on the thing, plants the bomb, and they set up, and Dylan hits a long route. No bullshit around. You see teams all the time, Ben. They'll get a kill. They'll start fucking premium, playing slow. Yep. They're taking their good old fucking time. They're looking around, checking every little corner. Next thing you know, there's 30 seconds left on the clock. They're getting pinched. They're getting collapsed on from all lanes. They have no play to make but plant the bomb. It's just so bad. So great play by Minnesota to play quick and aggressive and just be very decisive on their decision making in S&D and really making use of their kills is the main thing. So good heads up play. They tie the series up at 1, and we go into a third map. And this was the Standy show, Ben. The fucking Standy show.
Yeah, Standy went absolutely ham-boning this round. This is one of the fastest control maps we've watched all year on Garrison.
Do you have a time? Do you have a time limit on it?
No, if the good old JP was in the chat, I know he's Mr. Time on these rounds. But love to know how fast his map was. But it was a 3-0. And it was a pretty quick one at that time.
Yeah, no, Standy was absolutely frying. I did reach out to some of the Minnesota guys. Accuracy said he was going to come on, but he stopped answering me. I don't know if something came up or if he has to do something, but it's okay, man. People are busy, man. They got stuff to do. They're in a tournament. They got matches and things to go over, so we never want to force anybody on the show. If they want to come on, they can come on. But guys, Standy makes incredible plays this map, and you see it right here on your screen. While his teammates are capping the B point, he's just going massive at the A site, at the A point, and we know how hard this A point can be to break and get in there, and he just goes absolutely rogue. He's throwing shimmies, he's picking up kills, his timings are on point, his shots on point, and when you have a guy on your team doing stuff like this, making plays, it just opens up the map. He ends up streaking as well. He clears out that back alley area so nobody can contest or try and make some noise. He ends up getting 3 with the streak. And just like that, because of the plays that Standy was making, they win the defense and then they come in and win the first offense and they go up 2-0. If you're Minnesota Rokkr, you're in a great spot. Standy's 20-4, and all you need to do is close out a defense to win this map, Ben.
Yeah, I mean, I'll skip through most of his defense, guys. I mean, really just...
What do you guys want to watch, honestly?
I mean, bro, this was destruction, and Paris just was never able to get anything going on B, never able to get a clean 4-dead and force Minnesota to chalk it. Minnesota was just working green, pushing up, getting kills, putting Paris in a really deep spawn trap. And just overall, like... I think this is where the momentum swung, Tom, because the APOC wasn't really close either. Unfortunately, I had to take a phone call. I wasn't able to really watch most of this map. If you want to kind of carry this one and sort of explain kind of how this went down.
Yeah, no, we can watch it back. If I remember this correctly, Minnesota, again, we know Apocalypse. We talked about it in the first series. It's very back and forth. It's very chain heavy. But Minnesota just do a good job. They do a better job staying ahead of this game and just focusing on their rotations and just playing off one another. Obviously they won the map and they didn't go to game 5. If this goes to game 5, Ben, it could get a little bit mixy.
Well, Tom, Minnesota started on good side, so this must have been Paris's pick.
It has to be. It has to be Paris's pick if they're starting on good side. But right off the rip, I mean, you see Paris is storming through. They're trying to pick up kills, but Attach goes big. That was a big win out of Attach in the back. If Attach doesn't win that, I wonder if it changes a little bit. He also gets another one. So Dylan just secures the spawns for his team. He just secures the spawns. He goes big. He gets a couple kills. That could have went bad off the rip for Minnesota. But even Paris, again, look, they're storming through. They're getting kills. Just really mixy. You see these teams, Ben, really fighting for these P2 spawns. They're going crazy because everybody knows how much of a money hill this P2 hill is. But Paris, they get a little bit of a lead in P1, but Minnesota locked down this P2. And it looked pretty good, Ben. I mean, there's really not much to say other than Minnesota just staying ahead of their rotations and just playing off one another. They looked better this map than they did the first map. Now, if you're Minnesota, you just want to see a little bit more consistency in some of these hard points. Because if Minnesota can get their hard point consistent, they're going to be a deadly team, Ben. Like, they're a good team. They have a lot of talent. And I feel like their S&D is really good. So, this team is scary, for sure.
Yeah, I agree, and that's why I want to see them square up against Toronto this weekend, who have been on a really good run of form in S&D and in hardpoint. That'd be a really good test to see where Minnesota's at in both those game modes.
And you see here, right, Paris, they start building themselves a lead. I think this is where I was like, if you're Paris, you should be focusing for those back spawns right now. Obviously, you want to try and contest some of this rock hill and try and make it mixy. But the thing you want to do is just try and break some of those spawns, just so you don't let the game get away from you. You have a lead, and you want to try and work off that lead. But Minnesota do a good job focusing on the spawns. That's going to be Standy in the back, picking up some kills. Paris is trying to push through old, but they're not having any of it. And I think they're counting players as well. A lot of these pro teams, guys, they're always counting players. They're always making sure they know where everybody is. If they have 2 or 3 dead, they know that they're missing 1. They call out names. If they're missing people, they're not going to give up their lanes. They're always going to hold just so they don't let go of anybody or let anybody make plays on them. It's a very big thing in COD, Ben. People counting names and counting players.
100%.
If you don't do that, then you chalk yourself up. You know what I'm saying? It was a problem with our team last year. It was a lot harder in 5v5. There's actually a listening with Paris, and I kind of want to tune in and see how they're coming. So let's go into an extra game listening with Paris Legion.
Double in the back door, there, door. Back door, priest of week. Go on. Two back door, two back. Respond deep.
Alright. I'm bringing out a sub for this hill. Let's head low.
Alright, one's in hill, one's backside hill.
One's low, heli on me.
Top maps. Hard on it, officer. Martin, nice.
I don't see the guy low.
He's spawning in the back. We spawn maps.
Low, one shot. He was watching it.
Now be done. Come in. Trophy in time.
How am I done? Just spray me right now?
I'm old, right?
I'm a slide.
Yeah.
You're doing the team shoot. Danny weak. Nice. No one right corner. Close right corner. Right corner.
Dead. One more close.
I spawned in the back. You're gonna be on you, Yuli.
He's gonna be on you, Yuli. Yeah, we spawn in the back,
bro. You gotta go big, Yuli.
He's just low TV.
I need comms.
Yeah, one's in the window on the left.
I don't see him. Maps or tempo. I can kill that guy.
Got Lamar.
One was top map.
Oh, one back maps.
Oh, I didn't see him.
You didn't see his feet. I was a little surprised there.
Damn.
Alright, Priest is low helicopter.
Front coop, guys. Priest dead, low.
Nice. No one low.
Low me, guys.
Try to help Maddie.
One shot, Tom. He's challenging me. Low
Kill the guy left.
Low me still. Low.
Time weak. I don't see him low.
Yo, nothing rush me.
I can't shot.
He's looking helicopter.
One more tempo.
Nice. Lamar was low. On time now. All right.
Right,
Rokkr,
right, right.
Let's run this P one time. Let's run this P one time.
I'm going to turn off the listening. It wasn't that bad of a listening. You hear them comment. They spawned out. Honestly, it was a good play by Minnesota. I'm not sure which player it was, but he pushed through that left side of the map. He picked up a kill, and he started thinking about new. And Minnesota, again, it was the problem that they had in the first map, just not getting on rotation and not focusing on what's important on the map. But you really saw it here. They're focusing for those P2 spawns. We know how OP that P2 hill is. And they get some time on this P1. They're able to take a little bit of a lead and lock down this P2. And at this point, Ben, you just need to make sure that you're playing the game the right way. If you're Minnesota, you're good to go.
Yeah, I agree, Tom. You know, I think this is a good regame for Minnesota, especially in the second rotation. They're able to take this and sort of run away.
Yeah.
And Tom, I think for Paris, it's.
What did you think about their comms? Did you think their comms were bad?
I think the comms were fine.
They were a little weird. I feel like they were a little
hectic in the beginning, but they calmed down. No pun intended there. I don't know. I mean, I just still think it's not. It doesn't seem like it's a comm issue. It just seems like there's a hesitancy to make plays on their team. They're very slow and methodical team, and they're not getting in sort of that flow where they can take consistent team shots, and they don't have. It doesn't seem they're going to play that style where they'll take some aggressive challenges and try and make plays.
And look how hard it is to break. Look how hard it is to break this hill.
Listen, you're down 50 at this point, and it just there's not a lot of movement towards P3 here, Tom. Like they keep challenging old. I know they had a guy spawning in the back and they're trying to make a play. It looks like Nick does go big and actually gets 3 kills. This is big.
He spawns in the back. He gets like 10, 15 seconds to scrap with a big 3-piece. But it's a good 3-piece for him. But now it's just allowing Minnesota to push up and try and get into this next hill and make things mixy. But just talking about that P2 hill, I mean, it's just crossfires, man. Like people are just going to lay down. They're going to play off each other and hold some crossfires. And it's literally almost impossible to break. And I think that was some of the complaints about this map is how hard it is to break. So that's why it's important to make sure you're holding your rotations, guys, and playing the game the right way. It's going to show in the stats and individual play. It's going to be easier on you. But Minnesota, they do a good job, if I remember correctly, making this mixy. Standy comes in, he gets a kill, he gets a couple kills with the help of accuracy, and they do a good job, Ben, just holding on to this lead and just closing out this game.
I think I don't think, did Paris get another point after this?
They get steamrolled through the rest of this, because if you see this, right, not only is Minnesota pushing scrap, but they also have people focusing on that next hill. You have accuracy. He gets there really, really early, and it's a good heads-up play by him, because if he can get set up here with this Craig and just kind of hold this rock area and lock down most of this time, you're basically just guaranteeing the map, right? It was something that sometimes you see teams do. We saw LAG not do in their series, where it was like, you know, they could just win the game if they just rotate to the next hill and just play smart. So instead of just constantly flooding old, accuracy makes the heads-up play. He rotates, he holds all the angles, and once they get the kills, they push through and they instantly flip, Ben. Not only are they getting all this time, but they have the favorable spawns. I mean, this map is over. It's over.
Paris made the same mistake that we saw LAG make on this map earlier when we watched it, where they just didn't anchor the back. They all come into Turtle Hill and never get themselves in position to back up and hold that spawn.
And look at Minnesota. Look at their setup on the map. They're spread out across the whole map. They're holding right side. They're holding middle. They have somebody picking up cuts, going back and forth. Somebody does get through, but they're always there. They're very close. Their setup is very tight. So if anybody dies, they have people there to help no matter where Paris wants to go. Right now, Paris is just absolutely, they're fucked. They can't go anywhere. They're absolutely pinned. So it's a good play by Minnesota. Good play. They honestly looked very good on this map, Ben. They looked really good. I was impressed with their play. And now you got to start thinking what's going on with Paris, because they have not looked good at all. Have they won a series since the change?
I don't think so, Tom.
They haven't won a series. They haven't won a series since the change, and they just look so frustrated. They look so frustrated, and it sucks to see, because I think they're a good team and they have good players, but it's just not clicking for them right now, Ben. What do you think it is?
I don't know, Tom. I mean, it just seems like they're just still in the same problem they were with Fire. It's like, what is Matty going to run a sub or an AR? You know, Nick's going to run a full-time SOD. Is Donnie going to run a sub or an AR? The role issues problem has not been fixed on this team of picking up Don.
Yeah.
And that's just seems like the struggle. So I don't know, man. They're in a really tricky position right now. I believe they have now lost 2 series, or 0-2, I think. No, they're 0-3. So that's not good. I don't know if they play
Definitely
again.
not.
I don't think they play. Oh, they do play again this week. So they play Florida on Sunday. That is a must-win match. And then what is their last match here? They play Toronto on the Saturday following. So they're going to have to kind of win these next 2 matches, Tom. Hope some things go in their favor, and maybe they can get that first bye in losers. Otherwise, they're going to be starting to lose round 1, Tom. And this Paris team really cannot afford to finish like top 10, top 12 again.
Nope, they cannot afford to play it. And Ben, if you can, just pull up the matches for tomorrow, because I'm down to do some predictions. Accuracy apologizes, man. They were definitely going over some VODs as a team, so we'll definitely get them on another time. We got the Stocksman. That's Accuracy's cousin in the chat. Make sure to go check him out on Twitch. If you want to learn how to make some cash, he'll help you out. So shout out to the Stocksman, man. But we got some good matches tomorrow. We finally have 3 matches. The 2 matches are fun, and I love watching COD, but sometimes it goes by so quick. I wish we had more, but tomorrow we got 3 matches. We got London Royal Ravens going up against Atlanta FaZe. We got Dallas Empire versus Los Angeles Guerrillas, and we have Seattle Surge going up against, you know, my very own, the New York fucking Subliners, Ben, my fucking guys. So I'm excited to watch some matches tomorrow. We'll start with the first series. We have London going up against Atlanta. Who do you got, Ben?
I think this is going to continue to be a very tough matchup for the London Royal Ravens. I do not see their sub players having a field day with this Atlanta team. I'm going to say Atlanta 3-0, Tom.
I'm going to go Atlanta 3-1. I think maybe London can steal a map here or there. Maybe, you know, somehow maybe win an S&D or a control. I don't know.
Map 1, maybe they get their hard point.
Yeah, maybe they come out just with a shit ton of energy. I think at the end of the day, Atlanta FaZe is going to come out and do what they do, and it'll be a 3-0 or a 3-1. But I'll go 3-1. But let's go into the T-Mobile 5G weekly drop matchup. We got Dallas Empire going up against Los Angeles Guerrillas. And again, it's weird because I think Los Angeles Guerrillas actually don't look that bad. And I actually like the way Chino's been playing. I think Chino's been playing pretty well. I think they just need to clean up some of the mistakes that they're making, like some of the little stuff. And like you said, Ben, you want to see some of their sub players step up. You want to see some people on the team step up and start putting up some better numbers. I think that'll come as they play the game the right way. I think a lot of that will come easier, but we want to see them do it against the top team, and now they have it right here. You got Dallas Empire. Obviously, Los Angeles Guerrillas took down FaZe once, so it's not impossible. You have Dallas going through that switch. They dropped Hook, or they benched Hook, and they picked up Fellow, and to me, they don't look as strong. I think XEO, I think that trio between Hook, Shotzi, and Illy was absolutely incredible. And the fact that that's no more a trio, I think some of these top teams are just looking at them now, and they're just not as threatened by them. Now, that's not to say anything about Dallas as who they are as players, and no shot at Fellow or anything. I just think Hook, Shotzi, and Illy was just such a powerhouse 3. I thought their chemistry was phenomenal. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see what happens. I'm still going to go Dallas here. I'm going to go Dallas 3-2. I think this might be closer than we think. I think it's going to be Dallas 3-2, but I think I could see this going either way with the way Dallas has been playing lately.
Yeah, I'm trying to scroll through and see what maps Dallas have been playing this stage. So they've been playing a couple of hardpoint checkmates, a couple of control checkmates, S&D Express. Here they won. I'm actually going to say 3-1 Dallas. I think maybe the map set might be decent for Dallas. I still have a lot of questions about this team, this Dallas team, Tom. Not totally sold yet.
So do I.
This is the team that's going to stick. Would love to see LAG kind of get in this series and maybe change sort of the rep that they have now. But I'm finding that tough, Tom. I think Dallas is going to go ahead and clutch this up.
No, they're going to clutch it. I still think Dallas is an incredible team. I think Illy is really fucking good. I think Shotzi, even Fellow. I think the whole Crin, the whole team is amazing. I just don't know if they have the same star power as they did with Hook. And I think a lot of it's just going to come down. Obviously, they made the change, right? The whole team thought they needed to change, and they picked up Fellow, and Fellow brings a lot to a team. I think he's a good teammate. He's been playing the game for a long time. He is talented, and he's good with the comms, and he could be really good for their team. So we'll see what they come out with. Again, like I said, I'll go Dallas 3-2, but we'll see what Dallas brings to the table tomorrow. I'm excited to watch them play and see if they improved at all from the last time they played. But then we go into the next one. We got Seattle Surge going up against the New York Subliners. Benny boy, what do you think?
I think this is a New York 3-0.
You're going straight 3-0.
I'm going with the line I talked about with Seattle. We have not heard about if Looney's in or out of the lineup. Haven't seen anything from practice, so assume that he's playing. I don't know, Tom. I really like some of the parts of the Seattle team. I think that New York Subliners loss to London was a little bit of a fluke. But I do kind of like them in this matchup against Seattle and sort of the map set. I'm gonna say, yeah, New York's gonna grab this dub.
Yeah, we see
No,
the
no upsets
subliners.
for me this week, Tom.
We
I don't
see
think
the
so.
subliners emotes coming in, ladies and gentlemen. You already know I'm going with a fucking New York 3-0. You know what I'm saying? I think the main thing for Seattle with me is their consistency. Sometimes they come out and look great. Sometimes they don't. We obviously want to see some people step up. I think a lot of people thought they might have been maybe a team change coming in from Looney. But I know Looney also brings a lot to a team. So maybe they just thought that they still have something left in the tank. Obviously, they don't have anybody on the bench right now, but we'll see if Seattle can turn it around and make some noise. Obviously, you know, they have talent. They've showed signs of life, but we'll see, man. I'm still going to go New York here 3-0, but I think we can have a good match here. We have a lot of good teams playing tomorrow, and I'm really excited to watch some of these matches, man. So we're going to have a good day, man. A good fucking day at COD. If there's any questions in the chat that you guys want us to answer, we ran through this episode kind of quick, which is okay. I think it's okay to get some episodes out quick. You know, just talk about the matches real quick. The day went by pretty fast. We only had a couple series. So if there's any questions that you guys want Ben and I to answer, we're here to talk, man. We're here to answer some questions. So drop them in the chat. Ben and I will do the best we can to read them and answer the best ones, and then we'll call it a day. But it was a great show today. Great show. Just Ben and I just talking and chilling. Just like old times, Ben. Just like fucking old times, buddy.
Love it, love it.
Let's see what you guys come up with. Let's see if there's any questions. We usually do the Reddit thing, but I also don't want to just spam the Reddit every single day with questions.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's okay to just leave it up to the chat. Ben, how was your date last night? Benny, but you had a date last night.
I did not go on a date last night.
Yeah, whatever you say, Ben.
I went out to go watch the NFL draft. It was myself, my boss, Anna Pasella was there, and his family.
That's
and
nice.
Merck and his girl was there. So we had a good time.
Phenomenal.
Watching the draft, talking about some football. I watched the Giants make some good action. Dave Gettleman making trades. I just saw that he made a trade in the second round as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Listen,
the
so you went on,
going on here.
So you went on a date. That's nice. I hope your date went well. But people are saying Hook to Seattle. People want to see Hook go to Seattle. I don't know. I really don't know if that's ever gonna happen. I'm gonna be honest with you.
I don't think that would happen because what is going to go in the other direction? That
Yeah,
trade?
exactly. How do you?
I don't think Seattle's putting up the cash for Kyler.
Yeah,
so
how did it just? I don't see that happening. I agree. I don't see that happening. If it did happen, I would be surprised. Hook is gonna be a tough one to get, man. He's under contract and he's not cheap. I'll tell you that. So we'll see. I would say the team that I think could be the most likely the two likeliest trade partners for Hook based on needs and sort of the availability of funds would be probably Florida and New York. If I had to make a guess. I see a tweet coming in from Donnie. He tweeted out so stressed. And I mean, as we talk about it all the time with a lot of these pro players, I mean, it's a stressful gig, man. When things aren't going your way and you're losing matches and, you know, individually you feel you could be playing better, it's stressful, man, because you want to keep playing. You want to be at the top. And when you put in a lot of time and a lot of work, it sucks. Like I said yesterday, like me and Zinni were talking about at the end of the show, the highs are very high and the lows are very low. So you got to feel for Donnie and the rest of the guys at Paris. You know, just keep working on it and keep grinding and just don't give up. The most important thing and advice that I have to Temp and anybody else in that team, don't give up, man. You guys have a lot of talent, have a good team. You just need to try and figure it out and put it all together. But who pays an org like Atlanta FaZe or FaZe? I don't know what you mean by that question. Do you know what he means by that question? Who pays an org like Atlanta FaZe, AEV, or FaZe?
I believe the way that works is AEV, Atlanta Ventures, which is Paul Hamilton's company. And I think Cox, the like parent company of Cox, which is sort of like VC fund. They're the company that's running the team, and the FaZe branding is basically like they're licensing it from FaZe. But there is other shared resources between the two companies, from my understanding how that works.
I see people saying Hook to 100 Thieves, Hook to Florida with Neptune.
I could see Hook to 100 T.
I can see 100 T. I can see 100 T.
I could definitely see it.
Me too.
I just okay. I will say this from personal experience because at one point, like in the past, we did attempt to sign Hook. I think it's like Black Ops 4 or I don't know, one of those years, and I just find it hard to believe with his loyalty to the org and him being there so long that they will let him walk for pennies on the dollar. My guess is the buyout, if there was a buyout, would be quite large. If a team is getting him out of last year, that contract, they're going to have to pay a lot. If he just renewed his contract too, they have to pay even more. And I think it's unlikely that like a team like Florida or New York is going to send a lot of favorable assets to make the trade go for Dallas. So we'll have to see. I think if there is a move for him, it's going to take a while to unfold. I don't think it's going to be an overnight thing, Tom.
Yeah, just in, Donnie Temp unfollowed everyone on Twitter, including myself. He's following 0 people on Twitter. You gotta think Donnie Temp is going fucking rogue, ladies and gentlemen.
That's a big road play to Don.
And I kind of fuck with it. Maybe he's like, fuck it, bro. Just fuck it. He's just, maybe he's feeling some type of way. But I just saw some people in the chat talking about it. But that's actually fucking comedy. He's probably just like, he's feeling it. You see Joel in the chat. Donnie he unfollowed everybody, Joel. He unfollowed everybody. You know what I'm saying? What are you going to do, man? What are you going to do? What is, Zoomaa, what is Ben and yours favorite COD of all time? I mean, probably not the best COD of all time, but my favorite is AW. I mean, it was just so fun to me. Like, it was just some of the most fun I've ever had playing a game. But I don't know about you, Ben.
Probably either Black Ops 2 or Black Ops 3.
If you could play Sib on any roster, what roster would it be? If you had to take Sib and put him on a roster. That's a Luma. Why are you guys giving me a Luma for something that I enjoyed playing? You guys asked me the question and asked what was my favorite game to play. Not you guys didn't ask me what I thought was the most competitive COD game of all time. You asked me what was the best game. Fair. What was your favorite game to play? AW, without a doubt. The Phase Optic Rivalry was dope. The game was fun itself, just to play jetpacks and fly through the air and get cracked. It was just so fun to me. It was just a fun game. I just loved it. Not to say that it was the best COD ever made, but it was fun, and I really enjoyed it. Answered the Wance question. Bance came in and asked the question. What did he ask? He said, "Let's hear some rosters you'd make here to spice up the TL."
What's the constraints on rosters that we're making? We just make whatever roster we want.
Well, let's see. So Sib, let's say we're bringing in Sib. Where would you like to see Sib?
Where would I like to see Sib?
Yeah. He's a tough one.
Seattle's kind of tough because that means either him or Pierce have to run a sub. That's a tough one.
I don't think he would work on Seattle. I don't think he would work on Seattle.
Paris, same problem.
What about LA Thieves?
Thieves would actually work out, I think. But who would you swap it out for?
I don't know. I have no idea. But I could definitely see him maybe going to Thieves. Or Dallas.
If you think Illy's running a full-time sub, then Sib, yeah, for Fellow.
People
saying Sib for Alec, come on.
I like Fellow though. I like Fellow on Dallas. I feel like he fits those guys well. Sib is a hard one because he's very talented, but you need to put him in the right group of guys. You need to, you know what I'm saying?
A lot of teams are trying to again, a lot of the problem with these teams is they need like a sub player. So
definitely NYSL for Mac. Fuck no.
I like Sib in New York.
I like the team how it is for now. I think the team has a lot of potential.
Yeah, I like the team now, but Clay, Sib, Asim, and Hydra is a pretty good squad.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think the team is great right now, but we'll see how they continue to perform as time goes on. But let's take one more question before we end the show. There's a lot coming in. I'm trying to keep up. It's always hard to answer questions in the chat when it's moving so fast. I'm going to scroll up and see if I can find anything.
Take the Florida and put Big Wake in the sub role. Why would you take Big Wake off an AR? Come on, man.
Nameless said Empire don't plan to play with Fellow for the rest of the season. Surely they need to make a pickup ASAP. I mean, how the fuck does Nameless know this shit? You know what I'm saying? Like, how the fuck does Nameless know?
I know how Nameless knows.
He talks to fucking Crim, but yeah. I also talk to Porter, and it's not just black and white like that. Like, yeah, we want to replace Fellow. Like, it's not how it is. Like, they like Fellow. Like, Porter likes playing with Fellow. But it's a good team for them.
They also know that, like, this Illy sub thing might not work, or the Fellow thing might not work, so they're hedging against that. I'm just curious what the next part of the play is.
Every team right now, if it's not working, they're going to be looking at possibly making changes. I mean, Dallas, I'm sure they made a change. They're going straight to their substitute. They're going to give him a try. Yeah. And if it doesn't work, maybe they make another change. But I personally think Fellow was a good pickup for them. And you heard Clay say it on the show.
It's a good pickup. But the problem, Tom, is they don't have a hedge now, which is like, what are you going to put Kyler back in the lineup after all the things that went down? Like, I don't know, man. Like, it's definitely a weird situation. I'm curious if they want to make another move. If that is obviously a move outside of the org and what that move is. I mean, if they're going to take their time. Like,
you want to know a good move? A good move would be to bring the fucking kid back. bring Kyler back. Say, listen, we weren't playing around. If there was something in practice he wasn't listening or was showing up late to practice, or I don't know what the whole deal was. Kramer was like, look at the fucking mini map, and I'll tell you everything you need to know. You know what I'm saying? So it's like maybe a little break from him. Maybe benching him for a week or two was good. Maybe bringing him back now. Maybe it'll change his mindset or something, and he'll come in and just and start frying. I think Hook is just such a weird one to me because he's so talented. That's why I don't want to take away. I don't want to take away from Fellow or anybody over there at Dallas. I'm just think very highly of Hook. But you got to think maybe there was something else going on. They know their team a lot more than us, so it's hard to say from the outside looking in. And obviously, I talked to Porter and talked to some people, but we'll see. We'll see what happens as time goes on. The last thing we'll talk about, because I see a lot of people always talking about this, Ben. John. People want to see John back in the league. They say he's playing really well. I've been watching John. He looks like his old self. People want to see him on Seattle. They think he'll be a good fit. What do you think?
No, he would be a terrible fit on Seattle.
Okay.
Actually, no bullshit.
Why?
Because I think what Seattle need on their team, the last missing piece, is they need a sub player who's a real meta pusher to pair up well with Gunless. I think John is just another instance in Seattle where they've done over 2 years of recircling the wagons, teammates that team together. Do not make that mistake again. Pick up a sub player because you've got grinders on your team. You need to incentivize Octane to grind. Like, I really like, and Preston tries really hard and he plays a lot of COD. They need to find a player who's going to go hard and play. And that is how they're going to take the next step up as a team. And I think that John's still got some work to do. I watched their team play a lot in Challengers. He has a lot of great maps. He has a lot of mediocre maps. I think he's not 100% yet ready for the challenge of being on a pro team.
What about Saints?
My read on it. Nato could be a good fit.
Nato's a beast.
You know, my only issue with Nato is he's teamed with those players before and it hasn't gone well. So if they're willing to overcome that and figure that out, then great. Nato can slay at this level. He's done it a gazillion times.
Yeah.
But if they feel like that chemistry issue will happen up again, then I can see why they wouldn't make that move. Now, I don't know Nato's contract situation with New York, so I don't know mechanically how the move will happen, if they can easily pick him up, if he's a buyout. But it's definitely an option. I would definitely say Nato over John if I had to pick one of the two.
You'd pick Nato over John?
Yeah.
I think Nato would be a good pickup too. I think he'd be a good pickup just because I think he's in the right mindset. I know Nato, and I know he's had a rough past a couple years, or a year or two, and I just feel like right now he's just grinding and he's very focused on himself and his career, and I just feel like he's been playing some good COD. So I'm honestly a big fan of Nato right now, and I would love to see a lot more guys maybe getting some shots. And like Zinni always says when he comes on here, he said about 25 fucking times. He said, there's just not enough spots. There's not enough spots.
Lamar, I get it. He did win with Sam, but they also had some tough times after that. So I'm saying, like, people remember the good times they had with teammates and not the bad times they had with teammates. So you've got to remember what were the issues before and how do we address them to prevent them again. If they're willing to fix those issues, then I love Nato coming to the team. It makes their roles great. He would pair amazing with Pristini and the rest of the team.
I don't think it's a bad take, Lamar. I don't think it's a bad take.
I see where Lamar's coming from. I'm just saying that, like, you got to address the
because
BS.
the thing is like, it was just the way you said it. You said it didn't go well, but it kind of did. They won an event, and that's the ultimate goal.
They won an event, but they also don't remember what happens after that. That's what I'm saying. Like you get your high point, and they played really well in the Anaheim, but they played Dave and Vortex and the boys in that final, if I remember correctly. They played Epsilon,
I don't remember that shit. I'll tell you that. And then they also got third at champs. Listen, Nato, I'm all in to get you back in the fucking league, bro. I want to see you go at it again, bro. You know what I'm saying?
I want to see Nato definitely get in the league, and the Seattle team could be the fit. But I wouldn't be surprised, Tom, if they're looking at other options. I'm sure Reese Vivid's trying to get off of his team. He could be a really good fit for Seattle. There are a couple other players. Decimated could be an option here. Maybe they do try to figure out the situation.
I like Nato. I think I like Nato.
Nato is definitely got to be up there with options. But I would say definitely if I had to rank like the Nato or John situation, I'm taking Nato over John at this point.
Yeah, we'll see. Honestly, we'll see. We thought they were making a change going into this weekend, but they're keeping the team the same. So I'm excited to watch them play tomorrow. I mean, people can say whatever they want about Looney or anybody else on that team, but they showed signs of life, and I think they have good players, and I think they have a good team. They just haven't been executing and putting it together. I think sometimes they just get outshined too, because a lot of teams in the league just have some crazy firepower, and they just haven't been putting it together. So we'll see, man. We got a lot of great matches tomorrow. We had a great show today. Ben, I appreciate you coming on.
No problem.
If you guys are watching this on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Ben is also uploading it to different audio platforms like Spotify. People want to see it on iTunes, Ben. Maybe we could start working on getting it on iTunes.
We are on iTunes. We're on Apple Podcasts.
Okay, so we're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify. I saw people commenting about it.
Anchor.fm/theflank. If you go there, it shows you all of the platforms we're on, direct links. You can even from that site listen to the audio version of the show.
Yep.
And as always, kind of give us feedback on the show. We're always open. My DMs are open. Tweet at us. Definitely always looking for feedback. Tom and I are always looking to improve the show.
For sure, always. We know that there's hiccups in the show, guys. We're not perfect. We're definitely not perfect. Sometimes we have better shows than others. But at the end of the day, the show has been a lot of fun. Just coming on here and talking to you guys every single day. After the matches has been an absolute blast. So Ben, thank you for joining me, man.
No
it's
problem.
always a fucking pleasure.
It.
You fucking handsome bitch. All right, I'm sorry. That was toxic.
Same pal.
That was toxic, bro. That was a little toxic. Yeah, I called you handsome. I kind of complimented you though. I complimented you. But usually you go, whoa. And then I'm like, okay, fuck.
Yeah,
but
I
you
haven't
didn't do
done
that today.
in a while, so we're good.
Yeah. But thank you guys for watching, man. Great show, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Later.